The silence after her words hit harder than the words themselves. "No hugs or kisses today," she'd said, her tone light but clipped, as if affection had suddenly turned into something disposable. I laughed it off, thinking maybe she was tired, maybe the stress of her sister's wedding was getting to her. But the faint look of guilt that flashed across her face, there and gone before I could name it, stayed with me. It sat behind my ribs all morning, twisting. We were supposed to be celebrating love that day, yet I felt the quiet collapse of it in our kitchen before the sun had even risen. At the venue, everything looked like a dream. Rows of white roses, gold chairs glinting under soft string lights. The kind of beauty that feels heavy when your chest is already tight. My wife Lila moved through it all like she belonged there more than anyone. She was radiant, her laughter effortless, her dress flowing around her like smoke. Watching her, I almost convinced myself that morning hadn't happened. Almost. Her sister Maya was glowing too, fluttering around in her bridal gown, whispering to everyone, her nerves barely contained. They were close, too close sometimes if I was honest. Lila treated Maya's happiness like it was her own, sometimes more than our marriage itself. But that's what I told myself love was. Understanding, patience, trust. By the time guests began to take their seats, the small twinges in my gut had settled into something sharper. Lila kept checking her phone, her expression shifting from excitement to anxiety, then right back into that flawless smile when someone looked her way. I leaned close. "Everything okay?" She startled slightly. "Yeah, just last-minute stuff with the DJ. Don't worry about it." Her hand brushed mine for the briefest second. Cold. Detached. I wanted to believe her, I really did. But her eyes kept darting toward the side entrance, where the groom and his groomsmen were waiting. The ceremony began under an arch of lilies, the scent thick and dizzying. Maya walked down the aisle with trembling hands, and her groom, Ethan, watched her like she was the only person in the world. But there was something strange in that gaze, something that didn't fit the moment. His expression flickered when Lila stepped into his line of sight, and for a second, just a second, it looked like he couldn't breathe. My heart sank, though I didn't know why yet. I caught Lila's hand, meaning to give it a reassuring squeeze, but she slipped free, eyes forward. She looked pale, almost panicked, like someone waiting for a crash. The priest began his words, the crowd hushed, and the world narrowed into this small, fragile bubble of ceremony. I told myself I was imagining things, that nerves and excitement made people act strange. But when Maya said, "I do," Lila flinched like she'd been struck. And Ethan hesitated. It was a half-second, barely noticeable, but enough. The whisper of it rippled through the air. A collective, breathless pause. Then he said it. "I do." Too fast, too forced. When the cheers rose, Lila clapped along with everyone, but her smile looked painted on. Her hands shook. I reached for her again, but she turned away, pretending to fix her hair. At the reception, everything turned surreal. Music, laughter, the clinking of glasses, on the surface joy. But beneath it, something sour festered. Every time Ethan passed near Lila, her whole body stiffened. Once I caught them exchanging a glance, quick, charged, loaded with unspoken history. That was when the puzzle began to fit together in ways I didn't want it to. While she danced with guests, I drifted toward the bar, trying to drown that growing certainty with whiskey. My mind replayed months of tiny moments, her sudden late nights helping with wedding plans, her guarded texts, the weekend she'd stayed at Maya's to calm her nerves. Each one insignificant alone, now carved into something brutal. A friend clapped me on the back, laughing. "Man, your wife looks like she's about to cry. Weddings do that, huh?" I looked up. Lila wasn't crying. She was leaving, quietly, slipping out through the side door, her head low. I followed. The hallway behind the banquet room was dim, lit by the fading glow of a single wall sconce. I found her near the exit, her back to me, phone to her ear. Her voice broke. "You can't do this now, Ethan. Please. Just don't." My stomach turned to ice. "Ethan." Before I could move, she turned and froze. Her face went blank, color draining away. "Who were you talking to?" My voice barely came out. She stammered. "It's not what you think." I stepped closer, my pulse pounding in my ears. "Then tell me what I'm supposed to think. Tell me why my wife is whispering her sister's groom's name behind the reception hall." Her phone slipped from her hand and hit the floor, screen cracking. It was before they got engaged. It was a mistake, just one night. I ended it. I swear. I stared at her, but her words came like static. Before they got engaged didn't feel like comfort. It felt like betrayal wearing a polite mask. The walls around us seemed to shrink. The music from the reception muffled, distant like another world. So when you said no hugs or kisses today, that was guilt talking? I asked, my voice shaking. You couldn't stand pretending anymore? Her tears started then, silent and messy. I thought it wouldn't matter if I stayed quiet. I thought she didn't need to know. She doesn't need to know? I repeated, disbelief hardening into anger. You slept with the man she's marrying, and you're standing here at their wedding pretending it's fine? She covered her face, sobbing. I love you. I love you, not him. It was a mistake I've paid for every day since. The sound of footsteps made us both turn. Maya stood in the doorway. The world stopped. Her eyes were red, but her voice was steady. So that's what you've both been hiding. Lila froze, her lips trembling. Maya, no, please. I heard everything, she said. Her wedding dress caught the light, almost ghostly. You told me you'd never hurt me. Both of you lied. I'm sorry, Lila whispered. It was before you and he. Before doesn't erase it, Maya said, her voice cracking. You let me fall in love with someone who already belonged to you once. You stood there today watching me say vows you knew were broken. Ethan appeared behind her, his face pale, eyes darting between them. The weight of his silence was confession enough. Then Maya did something none of us expected. She took off her wedding ring, dropped it onto the floor, and walked back into the hall. The crowd gasped as she climbed onto the small stage, voice trembling but fierce. There won't be a marriage, she said, the microphone amplifying every tear in her throat. Because love built on lies isn't love at all. The room fell into stunned silence. Lila didn't chase after her. She just sank to the floor, shaking. I couldn't find words. Just this hollow ache that swallowed everything. That night I packed a bag. Lila didn't stop me. As I reached the door, she whispered, I ruined everything, didn't I? I paused, hand on the knob. No, I said softly. You just made me see what was already gone. Outside, the air was cold and sharp, and for the first time in years, I realized how heavy silence could be when it finally spoke the truth.